Hey guys, welcome back to my channel here. As you know, so today, November 25th, marks the begin of a very important event, right? The World Championship matches begins in Singapore between Wukesh D from India and then Diniran from China. So as you know, it is a very crucial matches. Ding is the world champion for now, and Wukesh is the challenger who won the candidates this year, right? So it's gonna be so cool to see things right here, and everybody obviously is so excited to see how the match finished, right? Including me myself. Before this, as you know, so Wukesh is considered the favorite. Some people even consider him the huge favorite, someone who may be able to win the match easily or like a walk in the park for him, right? But Ding, for me, I root for him because I always believe that he can do well when he is considered underdog or when people just do not rate his chance so highly, right? So let's see what happens right here. So it is gonna be exciting. In the first game, we got Wukesh. We have Wukesh who play white, and people already expect a fight in the very first round. Wukesh is the starter player who was the new generation, and he always tried to go for the win with white. Sometimes even with black pieces. He always play actively, and when you see Wukesh in real life, you can always feel the confidences in his face, right? So that is not that an uncommon thing. So for white, obviously he want to push, and let's see what happens in the game. So right here, Wukesh was white, play e4 first. So he can play e4, d4, c4, but in this game, Wukesh went for e4, which actually is not that unexpected. I think Diniran is known to play the e4, a5 on his lifetime, so I don't expect to see Italian or the Real Pass, but here, Ding play e6, which obviously is the French. I think it became more viral and more common in high level of chess after Nepomniachtchi. I believe he played that in the candidates. You know, right now, plenty people start playing French again, and has seen lots of like resurgences in the elite. So right here in the game, wish to play pretty quickly here. D4, D5, knight C3, knight F6. Black can also play as well too, but knight F6 is also one playable variations. Here, E5, D7, F4, C5. So now here I think Wukesh is the first one who made a surprising move. Here the main line is knight f3, right? When black play knight here, bishop here, and then queen b6, and or like here as well, which is also playable, and queen d2, and obviously its main theories. In the game, Wukesh went a bit different. He played knight ce2. He tried to defend the pawn with a knight, and also prepared to play c3 as well, which built a strong pawn chain. If black takes here on d4 right away, white just taking d4, and his knight here is staying in the outpost, right? And somehow it is surprisingly hard for black to chase it away. Here, for instance, the knight f3, and knight here is covered again, right? c5, bishop e3, or c3 is what too. When now somehow white can be able to, I think, consolidate in the center, can like play bishop e3 or e2 and castles here, ready for some king sides later on. When black, who struggles to kick the knight from d4, will fight hard to develop his pieces. Back to the game. So in the game right here, so Wukesh Ding playing knight c6. That's one. c3. And here it is when Ding starts a major thought. So here there are plenty of things here. The main line I think is queen b6 when white play knight f3 and then g3 is one, right? Like here I think this is the main line, and like g3 or a3 both are available, but I think Wukesh might play g3. Just variation cd4, cd4, this one, and this is the main line. I c3 here again. It should be objectively speaking equal, but I think Wukesh should have discovered this in depth. So in the game here, after a long thought, can see here for 30 minutes, Ding play a5, which obviously was a very realized. The idea here for black is that he wants to expand more on the queen side, trying to just play with queen here later on middle a3, right? I think it's pretty fair choice. So normally in the French, black will attack on the queen side and white attack on the king side, right? So this one explains something pretty simple. Black will not get hasty by castling on the king side. Instead, he tries to expand more on the queen side and get some more space here as well too. In the game, knight 3, Łukasz still play very quickly, not surprising by the new move, like not new move, but a very rare move by Ding. a4. e3, still play instantly by Łukasz. e7 by Ding. g4. Okay, so now this is a novelty play by Łukasz. For me, this is natural. The engine didn't like it, which you can see in the evaluation bar, right? But it's not so clear why. For me, this one explains the mindset of Łukasz very easily. He wanted to go for the win. He wanted to strike the first game. He wanted to mark his appearance in the World Champs by something special, right? G battle g4, f5, and g3 can be a things right here, and it's gonna be so dangerous if black does something here right away. That's why in the game, Ding instantly play queen a5, ready to strike in the queen side a little bit. You know, if I were white here, I would spend to play a3 myself to at least slow down black's pawn push in the queen side. But you know, Łukasz is fearless, as he always says. In the game, g2, a3, b3, cd4, and now somehow with the idea of a3, this pawn on c3 became somewhat weak, right? But it's still covered pretty well by the knight on e2. And obviously, black still need to prove that he get enough play on the queen side. So b4 was playing the game, fair enough. Queen c7, get the queen back to c7 because the queen here can be useful later on in the c file, put pressure on the pawn on c3. Knight d4 with e knight, fair enough. I think knight d4 here is also fine, but they can play here right away. So knight d4 here is a natural response. Knight d4, still the same. Black need to get some activities instantly. If not, he will be in trouble. So now, as you can see here, it is move 14 only, but now they already got nearly an hour down, right? Compared to Łukasz. But now I think Łukasz need to start thinking and need to start considering other options. Obviously, castles here is clear and fair, but then what's next? f5 must be tried, but when will be time for that? And how he can try to prepare for the attack in the king side need to be also considered as well too. So in the game, castles after 9 minutes of thought, c4, the bishop, bishop f2 over the thread, which is also a good choice when you're attacking. Bishop d7, develop the bishops, also ready to bring rook out here to see it as well. On, I think, pretty understandable things, right? Queen e2, bring the queen up, ready to bring this rook as well too. Connect the two rooks together. Knight d4 to the knight. Bishop d. I mean here, so the engine prefer bishop d4 first. For me, it's not so clear because here I guess that black can bishop b5, right? And can try and put pressure on the queen. Queen f2, for instance, can allow like knight to b2, right? And then d3 can be a thing as well too. When black actually can even try to strike back here in the king side. h5 is also a typical way to play here for black because h3 here allow black to open up h5, right? To attack actually. And if play like g5, it closed down everything and the attack on the king side now is gone. So in the game, knight d4 is actually a fair choice. Okay, here so the engine mentioned plenty of things. h5 now obviously is useless because now the pawn can simply be taken, right? And the g file here can become dangerous in the near future. So in the game here, Ding found, I think, a very nice way to play. Knight b2. This one for me deserves an exclamation mark. Why? Normally, no people will think about put a knight on this square because it seems do nothing, right? And it seems like just was so useless in the square. But here, the c3 pawn is now under threat, and queen c4 is the main idea here to be seen. One thing people need to understand is like if the queen being swept off, black is doing very very well because now the attack on the king side will feel less dangerous, right? And black has a very clear cut plan to castles and then double up the rook on the c file, putting pressure on the pawn c3, right? At some point, you can play like f6 to even strike here in the center where white seems 7h, right? And all of that is available after the queen trades. So you will be not surprised to see that in the game, Łukasz trying to keep the queen on at all costs. So in the game here, queen was played here by Łukasz. The engine recommends bishop e1, but for me this one looks so odd, right? Like, okay, why do you think about this one? Queen c4, queen d2 is what the engine recommends, but also for me it's not looking too clear. Queen e3, I do think about queen to d3 here, and queen c1. The engine want to regroup pieces a little bit and prepare like f3, f5 later on, but for me this is not too clear at all. Maybe here, I don't know, if I think for human being, I will prefer something like or maybe queen to f3 to prepare f5 for instance, right? Rook c8 here, so fc1 I guess so. Oops, that is actually a mouse slip, I'm sorry for that. And now things may be somehow still fairly unclear. Queen c4 as in the game will be not working because now bishop f1 can be working, right? Which I mean is pretty nice. But okay, in the game you will see things later on. Things are so much different. So in the game, queen e3 was played. Queen c4, rook c8 first. The main thing now is that rook fc1 allow h5 exclamation mark, which is so much different compared to the situation before, right? Queen f3 I think can, anticipate the ideas here, and now h5 will be not working, isn't it? The pawn once again can be just taken, and I don't think that black can have enough compensation for the sacrifice pawn. So right here, I think with queen f3 and rook c1, white can defend a bit better. But queen e3 here, I think Łukasz wants to play f5, but I think after a while he realized that black has a wonderful response to his ideas. Rook c8, which is actually a nice thing to do, to the pawn first. So now knight e2, h5 obviously is nice, right? Also bishop b5 is also available as well too. Rook fc1, h5 I think will be a good idea for black, because now obviously h3 doesn't look good here because it opened up the h5, right? For instance, I think the g5 right away can start, I think, a very strong attack here for black in this side of the board. So in the game, you play rook ac1, queen c4, and now there comes another problem. The pawn on a2 is a bit hanging, right? And now, in the earlier case, if you play queen c4, this is available, right? But now the rook on f1 is here, so queen c4 is still unavailable, which makes things not so easy here to play at all for white, right? So queen c4 now, and this is the threat. Queen d3, right? This in fact is becoming very annoying. f5, like instantly by Łukasz, who obviously is very fearless. Queen d3, also played by Dino right away as well. One thing you can see is that right here, so from move 14 to move 24, actually to move 21, see, right? He only spent 7 minutes. It feels like he has seen all the things before, right? But who knows? But it's quite clear that he had anticipated of own question to play. So here I am pretty sure Łukasz may want queen f4 at the beginning. The thing is that rook c3 here will be very dangerous due to, I think, rook c3 takes right here, and this right now, and then this one. queen f7 will come next, right? But here queen f4, I think Wukesh only realized that there was g5 exclamation mark. A very unexpected counterplay from black. Because if play here, in person, black can just pick here as well with the pawn, and now these things are some deadly threats that somehow there are no easy way to defend against. Once h5 is available, right? And it turns out to be that it is black who attack on the king side and not white. Obviously, here as you can see, right? White don't want to the queens because right now, for instance, bishop a4 can come and the pawn here will fall as well, isn't it? Also, this pawn here can be falling even easier. And the attack of white now dissipates. So at this point, it is coming to a very unfortunate moment for Wukesh. He doesn't want trade queens, but queen 4 is unavailable. What to do? The engine recommends g5. For me, it is also a very hard move. I guess that, you know, black can play queen e3, knight e3, you know, and the pawn here may fall, I guess so. But once again, black should now obtain the initiative. To here, which I think is very strong reading, I think now black is already better. I guess that, you know, it's not too easy to say where Wukesh went wrong. I guess the queen e3 here is, I think, a small inaccuracy that now allow black to, I think, put pressure on the pieces. Also here, I guess bishop e1. At this point, I think so. Okay, here, it is the best engine move. This one, for instance. When now, so Yota is still here, the f5 is open. But once again, as you know, sometimes the retreat move is so hard, right? And I think it is hard to blame Wukesh for not missing this move, because who want to do this, right? So in the game, b3, queen e1. Logical, but wrong, sadly. g5. Again, nice by Dinh Liren. He's simply trying to activate spaces with tempo, right? The rook was chased away, and the pawn in c3 now become a real weakness. Once again, very nice play by Dinh Liren at this point. c2, defend the pawn. Rook c4. Activate the rook here, and now he simply had a very easy threat of rook d4, right? And win rook on c2. Surprisingly, it's not that easy here to stop that, because right now, so what can he do? Bishop f3 obviously allows one, right? Queen b1 is what happened in the game. I should know in the gameplay later on, but somehow, so what can he do? You know, things were right. So it's not easy at all. Suddenly now the defense is a new field battle. Queen e2 now looks like best way to try, but after queen e2, now black wins a pawn by force, because knight e2 allows one, which the rook is trapped, you know. And e2 to c3, I think is not really a good improvement over the game. So in the game, Wukesh, I think, found the most resilient way to defend. h4, f4, probably for first is hasty, because right now it is white who can think about some activities, right? This is so hasty for black. That's why you should play f4 first. Keeping on rest here, still remain the same. Could be one defend the rook. c3 win the pawn. Let's test here. And now black is a pawn up. But white has knight e2, which I think is the only thing to do, right? If not, first rook e1 for instance, right? Now black can just like bishop g3, trade the bishop here as well too, and now weakening everything. This one I think should be over as well, right? Somehow, so this pawn is weakening, and now the attack here obviously doesn't have enough supporters. Things looking troublesome. So in the game, it's here with the pawn. The engine believes that this is the best way to try, but for me, I need to admit that I think this one is much more human. In the game, this one was play f6, knight e2, queen e5, knight e4, queen f4. And now black is 2 pawns up, you know, 2 pawns up. And somehow it seems like he is pretty safe as well too. He can castle stage 4, right? And things seems to be under his control. Here the engine can only see a very strong defense, but I think for human being it is so tough. Rook c5, rook g4, and rook f3. Attack the pawn on a3 and prepare to go for queen f1 here. Double up on the f file, and try and go for the mating threat. Once again, it's so tough, right? Now c4, queen f1 here, king d8, and here rook to, I mean queen f2, or like here for instance, can give black, like give white some chance. Okay, can hit black some more decks to convert, but you're down 3 pawns, isn't it? So this one for me is such an unhuman defense. In the game, you play queen c2, ready to get the queen out of this cage. Also, it's just a small trap that queen b4 may not be good in terms of queen c7, when now it is white's turn to invade, right? So here obviously Ding don't fall for that. Queen c4 exclamation mark. Somehow here Ding play incredibly precise. From now to the game, he just own play best move. Queen d2, castles. The king only castles in move 30, 31 in fact, right? Which is a thing that you don't see many times, especially in some early level games. But here in the World Champs, anything happen, and they just play with great accuracy at this point. Bishop d4. So now once again, they play extremely precise. Here first, we'll allow bishop to k8, right? And the queen will chase away. Also, queen g5 can become a thing if the queen goes away, right? Knight e3 first. Exclamation mark. The knight is getting back to the center, interfere between the queen and the bishop, and now the pawn is under threats. The main idea of this line is that rook f8, kf8, and queen to allow queen c1, and the queen trade will decide the game on the spot, right? But suddenly all the pawns of white is hanging, and now white will be busted. So it's nice here to play for Ding. In the game, Mukesh play resiliently. e3. Here, both of this one is fine, I guess so. e5 may be somewhat more harder because here and here, and the king looks a bit weakened, right? The engine is for this one, but once again, it looks inhuman. So in the game, Ding found the best one, I think so, in terms of practical chess. f1, f1, obviously, and e5. Very, very strong play. The bishop is chased away, right? And the pawn here is now hanging. Take here also looks on the spot because right now, this pawn here can be taken later on, and here, so right? The g5, I think just can bishop a4, and this threat is a thing, right? Bishop b1, and now I think bishop b5 here, and now this is, I think, over because the bishop here is so passive. And game, I think, is decided at this point. So in the game, bishop e5, g4. Now Gukesh only has like 5 moves to play until move 40, but he got only 40 seconds. He's like need to play bullet right now, right? Which I think is very, very tough. Actually, I forgot to tell you guys about the, I think, format and time control. It is like 2 hours for 40 minutes without increment, and after move 40, you get extra 30 minutes, and then after move 40, you get 30-second increment per move. But now, how much left? The engine claimed that this is best defense here. So I don't know. I mean, I wonder if Ding can find the best way here to play with knight b4, calmly picking another pawn. It's like, okay, so it's not a mating threat, right? We just keep taking pawns. What's wrong? And here and then here. When now, although white is still on the game, black is 2 pawns up, and he should be winning here if nothing goes wrong. But in the game, sadly, Gukesh blundered, but he's done on time, we say, right? g2, and now this is the end. This is nice things to do, and now sadly, there are no defense at all. And now Gukesh trying to bullet to the end of the game, but I think his position is already beyond salvation. e4 in the game, trying to attack here, trying to defend nice one too, and trying to stay on the very strong square, right? Here's 2. I guess now the only real trick you need to avoid is that king to bishop g2 here along the mid, right? But obviously, Ding won't fall for that. a6, exclamation mark. A very calm, classy, and a nice move here by Ding. I think he can already sense that he's winning here at this point, but he just didn't go for hasty at all, and that is so classy for sure, right? Bishop h3, queen d1, creating a meeting idea as well too, and this one as well too, right? So in the game, bishop d6 here, c2 checks, and now move 40 has reached. Both players gets extra 10 minutes, but sadly, now it is over. King g3, take a pawn. Easy, right? Or not? In the game, checks and get shit. Which resign. Obviously, you should avoid like king here, right? When queen e4, and now you can lose the queen on a2. That's not what you want to see. Obviously, king h8 here, queen e4 allow the intermediate move, queen f2 checks, and pick up the queen later on, right? But even here, if not for queen e4, it is still the same. White is down 3 pawns. The king here is not so safe, and the a pawn here will be a very strong passer. So, what a surprise, right? Obviously, people don't expect this to be the beginning of the match. What a stunning performance by Ding, and obviously, it is something that I think can add extra force to the match, right? I guess for me, I think Wukesh is slightly inexperienced. I guess he wanted to go for the win here so early, and that may be backfire at this point. But then, I think it's still game on, still 13 games left. As you know, last year Sudin lost early in game 2, right? And he still can bounce back. So I think now it's gonna be more fun. And now Ding will not be considered an underdog anymore. We will just see some exciting games together, right? And it's gonna be so cool to see the finish of this kind of thing. Obviously, I want to root for Ding as well too, but it's still gonna be close. So tomorrow's game 2, Ding will play white. We will play. Let's put it together in the chat, and hopefully you guys enjoy the game and enjoy the analysis. Hope you guys enjoy it, and hope you guys can understand what I'm talking about. We'll see you in some next videos, and we'll see you later. Peace.